WrestleMania represents WWE's pinnacle event where careers are defined and the wrestling industry can change direction overnight. These 10 main events were seismic shifts that altered the trajectory of professional wrestling forever. From the Iron Man match that inspired a generation to a shocking betrayal that left audiences stunned, these matches launched entirely new eras in WWE history. You'll be surprised which recent main event already ranks among the most influential of all time. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more updates. The shocking betrayal, Stone Cold. Steve Austin versus The Rock, WrestleMania 17. April 1st, 2001, Houston, Texas, the Astrodome. A night that would forever change professional wrestling. WrestleMania 17 wasn't just any show. It was the victory lap for WWE after finally defeating WCW in the Monday Night Wars. And who better to headline this monumental event than the two biggest stars in the industry, The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Their match transcended typical wrestling, becoming a violent collision between two icons at their absolute peak. For nearly 30 minutes, they unleashed their entire arsenals on each other, while the Houston crowd, known for being one of wrestling's most passionate, roared with an intensity that shook the Astrodome's foundation. Then came the pivotal moment. Vince McMahon, Austin's most hated enemy, appeared ringside as the match reached its climax. The crowd's energy transformed to nervous tension. Austin had promised victory at all costs, foreshadowing what was to come. When Rock survived the stunner, desperation consumed Austin. McMahon handed him a steel chair, and Austin's brutal assault that followed led to the unthinkable, shaking hands with his mortal enemy. Jim Ross's anguished cry captured wrestling's seismic shift. Stone Cold has sold his soul to Satan himself. The Attitude Era's defiant hero had become what he despised most. The career ender, The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 26. The Attitude Era might have ended with Austin's betrayal, but nothing in wrestling truly ends until someone's career does. In 2010, two masters of their craft faced off in what many consider the most emotionally devastating match in WrestleMania history. A contest where every move carried the weight of finality as fans gradually realized they were witnessing the last stand of a beloved icon. At WrestleMania 25, The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels had delivered a masterpiece that set an impossibly high standard. Their rematch raised the stakes. If Michaels couldn't break Undertaker's undefeated streak, his legendary career would end. As the match progressed, desperation consumed Michaels. Every signature move, every high-risk maneuver reflected his growing realization that time was slipping away. The crowd, initially divided, unified in collective dread as the match reached its climax. The defining moment came when Undertaker caught Michaels attempting his signature moonsault. Standing tall with Michaels in position for the tombstone, Undertaker hesitated, silently acknowledging his respect. The arena fell silent. Michaels, defiant to the end, slapped Undertaker across the face. One final tombstone later, and a 25-year career was over. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more updates. The Fan Revolt. Daniel Bryan versus Batista versus Randy Orton, WrestleMania 30. As the dust settled on Michaels' career, wrestling was entering a new era where fan opinions carried unprecedented power. In 2014, WWE had meticulously planned WrestleMania 30's main event. Randy Orton defending his championship against returning star Batista, with both men positioned as the company's chosen faces. There was just one problem. The fans had collectively decided on a different star. Daniel Bryan, a 5 feet 8 inches technical wrestler with an unassuming appearance, had captured audience hearts with his "Yes, a chant" and underdog persona. When WWE excluded him from the Royal Rumble, fans revolted. Entire arenas erupted with deafening "Yes" chants that drowned out planned segments. The movement spread beyond wrestling when 70,000 fans at a Michigan football game broke into Bryan's signature chant. WWE initially resisted. Vince McMahon reportedly viewed Bryan as too small and not marketable enough. But as CM Punk walked out partly in protest and Batista's return faced overwhelming hostility, WWE finally changed course. They created a storyline where Bryan could earn his way into the main event. When Bryan forced Batista to tap out as New Orleans thundered with "yes" chants, fans witnessed their collective power transform WWE's biggest show through sheer determination. The story finisher, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, WrestleMania 40. While Daniel Bryan's journey represented fans forcing WWE's hand, what followed at WrestleMania 40 was something wrestling rarely achieves, a storyline so perfectly executed that it made even the most jaded fans believe again. In 2022, Cody Rhodes returned to WWE after helping build AEW, pursuing the championship his father Dusty never captured. At WrestleMania 39, fans watched in disbelief as Rhodes failed against Roman Reigns, whose championship reign had reached historic proportions. This devastating loss began a compelling year-long redemption arc, culminating at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. The storyline took an unexpected turn when The Rock returned with apparent plans to face Reigns. Genuine fan backlash pushed WWE to pivot back to Cody, transforming the two-night event into chaotic theater. Seth Rollins came to Rhodes' aid, while the Bloodline interfered repeatedly. Legends like John Cena and The Undertaker made shocking appearances to even the odds. When Rhodes finally hit his third crossroads and pinned Reigns to end his 1,316-day championship reign, the arena erupted. Confetti rained down as Rhodes fell to his knees, overcome with emotion. Wrestling fans, conditioned to expect disappointment, experienced a perfect narrative conclusion 40 years in the making. The Iron Man Showdown, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 12. While modern wrestling thrives on satisfying conclusions, there was a time when WWE shocked fans by delivering something unprecedented, an hour-long main event that ended with no winner at all. The 60-minute Iron Man match between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12 changed how wrestling matches were structured and exposed a fundamental divide in wrestling philosophy that would eventually rip the company in two. WWE gambled everything on a match format never before seen at WrestleMania. Two men with completely opposite styles, Hart's technical wrestling prowess versus Michaels' high-flying showmanship, battled like chess grandmasters for a full hour. After 60 minutes of grueling action, the score remained 0-0, not a single fall. The match highlighted the growing tension between these superstars. Hart, the wrestling purist who believed in the traditional art form, against Michaels, the flamboyant showman representing wrestling's entertainment evolution. Their real-life animosity simmered beneath every move. When time expired, then WWE President Gorilla Monsoon ordered sudden death overtime. Minutes later, Michaels caught Hart with sweet chin music and pinned him to fulfill his boyhood dream. This championship victory signaled WWE's shift toward the theatrical style that would define the coming era. The botched finale, Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 19. If Michaels represented wrestling as theatrical art, then WrestleMania 19's main event showed us the terrifying reality when legitimate athletes pushed beyond their limits. Kurt Angle, an Olympic gold medalist, faced off against Brock Lesnar, the NCAA Division I heavyweight champion. This was a collision of two men who could legitimately hurt anyone they faced. The match itself was a masterclass in technical prowess. Angle and Lesnar traded suplexes, submission holds, and near falls that had the Seattle crowd on the edge of their seats. What many fans didn't know was that Lesnar had been practicing a move in developmental that defied physics, a shooting star press, where his 295-pound frame would flip backward off the top rope. When Lesnar climbed the turnbuckle and launched himself across the ring, time seemed to slow down. His body failed to complete the rotation, crashing neck first into the mat. The crowd's collective gasp echoed through the arena as Lesnar lay motionless. Referee Brian Hebner thought Lesnar had broken his neck. The moment left an indelible mark on wrestling safety protocols. Yet somehow, despite the severe concussion and visible disorientation, Lesnar summoned inhuman strength to lift Angle for an F5, securing the championship through sheer will. The streak defender, The Undertaker versus Edge, WrestleMania 24. The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak wasn't just a statistic, it was wrestling's most sacred institution. In 2008, WWE did something previously unthinkable. They made millions of fans genuinely believe the unbeatable might actually lose. Edge, the so-called ultimate opportunist, had perfected the art of winning by any means necessary, making him the ideal villain to potentially shatter wrestling's most hallowed tradition. By WrestleMania 24, Edge had evolved into one of WWE's most despised characters. His smug, self-satisfied persona stood as calculated opportunism against Undertaker's supernatural mystique, like a fox challenging an immortal phantom. As World Heavyweight Champion, Edge brought his edgeheads, Curt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, to create a numbers advantage that threatened the dead man's WrestleMania magic. The match brilliantly played with audience expectations. When referee Charles Robinson was knocked out and Edge's allies interfered, the Orlando crowd collectively froze as Edge delivered a spear through the ringside barricade, creating genuine doubt about the outcome. This match transformed the Streak's presentation. When Undertaker secured victory with his new submission finisher, Hell's Gate, abandoning his trademark tombstone, it signaled that even the Phenom needed to evolve to keep his streak alive. The friendship finale, the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, WrestleMania 39. Evolution may be necessary to preserve a legacy, but for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, their journey required something more powerful: genuine friendship. In fact, before WrestleMania 39, no tag team match had ever main evented WWE's flagship event in its entire 39-year history. The reason this changed tells us everything about modern wrestling storytelling. The Bloodline saga represented an emotional odyssey that played out over months. Sami Zayn's gradual infiltration of Roman Reigns' family unit created weekly television that had fans completely invested. When Sami finally turned on Roman with that chair shot at the Royal Rumble, arenas erupted with a reaction typically reserved for championship victories. What made this match extraordinary was how their contrasting dynamics captured the audience's imagination. The Usos represented literal brotherhood, bound by blood and family loyalty. Zayn and Owens, meanwhile, embodied chosen brotherhood, two men who had spent years as bitter rivals, even breaking each other's bodies, only to find their way back to friendship. The final sequence unfolded perfectly. Zayn hit the hell of a kick on Jimmy, allowing KO to deliver a pop-up powerbomb for the victory. As confetti fell, their embrace told the real story. Sometimes the most compelling narratives are about human connection. The Tyson effect. Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, WrestleMania 14. While the Bloodline saga showed us the power of long-term storytelling, back in 1998, WWE was fighting for its survival against WCW with barely a pulse left in the ratings war. Raw was regularly losing to Nitro by margins of 1.5 to 2.0 points each week, and Vince McMahon was hemorrhaging millions as viewers abandoned his product in droves. In this moment of crisis, WWE made its biggest gamble ever, bringing in Mike Tyson as the special enforcer for WrestleMania 14's main event, fresh off his ear-biting incident with Holyfield. The price tag? A staggering $3.5 million when the company was already in financial peril. Backstage tensions were explosive. Shawn Michaels, wrestling despite a career-threatening back injury that would force him into a 4-year retirement, had many questioning if he'd even appear. Undertaker waited in gorilla position, fists taped, ready to take care of business if Michaels refused to do the job. The match culminated when Tyson, expected to side with DX, instead counted Austin's winning pinfall and decked a protesting Michaels. This shocking moment generated 385 mainstream news articles the next day, propelling Raw's ratings past Nitro's within weeks. WWE never looked back. The dream match? John Cena versus The Rock, WrestleMania 28. From WWE's desperate gamble with Tyson to its most calculated long-term bet ever, The Rock versus John Cena was announced a full year before it happened, something completely unheard of in wrestling. On February 14, 2011, The Rock returned to WWE after a 7-year Hollywood absence to host WrestleMania 27. That night, he cost Cena his match against The Miz, then immediately challenged him to a match at next year's WrestleMania. Their rivalry quickly took over social media platforms as both superstars spent the year trading increasingly personal jabs on Twitter, YouTube, and in promos that blurred the line between script and reality. The Rock called Cena a Fruity Pebbles-colored phony, while Cena accused Rock of abandoning WWE and using notes written on his wrist during promos. Their genuine dislike was an open secret backstage. Former WWE writer Brian Gewirtz revealed that Rock included Cena's "Rise Above Hate" catchphrase in his movie Pain and Gain as a subtle dig. The strategy succeeded. WrestleMania 28 generated a record-breaking $67 million economic impact for Miami and 1.3 million pay-per-view buys. When Rock defeated Cena with a rock-bottom counter to Cena's attitude adjustment, WWE proved something remarkable. In an era of instant gratification, making fans wait still creates the biggest paydays. And there we have it, the 10 most influential WrestleMania main events that literally reshaped professional wrestling. What makes these moments truly special is how they created genuine emotional reactions that transcended the scripted nature of wrestling. The best matches are those that mark the end of eras, launch new stars, or reflect cultural shifts that forever alter the industry's direction. Each event, though different in style, contributed uniquely to wrestling's evolution. That's wrestling's true magic, making us forget it's predetermined. In those perfect instances, wrestling delivers emotional payoffs rivaling any entertainment form. What WrestleMania moments made you feel that magic? Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more updates.